Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about bleed and slug. What are they and why do we have to add them and when do we have to add them? It's a really simple process. I'm going to start the video with a new document. If you don't know how to make a new document and you want to, I'm going to put a video in the comments, a link to one of my videos that I just made for how to create a new document in InDesign, and it will help you set things up. This is more so a follow-up to that video to explain bleeds and slug. So thanks for joining me. I'm gonna get right into it. So I click new file, I set up my width, size, columns, margins, everything. Now I want to add bleed and slug. First off, what's a bleed? Well, a bleed is really simple. It's the extension of your artboard, so that you can add designs into that extension to make sure that your colors, your pictures, or stuff like that really get to that edge without you having that white border around it. A bleed is important when your design extends from the original artboard. Rule of thumb in the industry, a bleed is 0.125 inches or 1/8 of an inch. I'm working in inches because the industry standards are mostly in inches. So 0.125 is a standard. When you come and print larger prints, that might change. But that's when you ask your printer, hey, do I still keep the same bleed? You and your printer need to be best friends. Like, you have to ask questions because every printer does things differently. But when it comes to the standard of a bleed, everyone in the industry knows that it's 0.125 inches. When it comes to small prints like 8.5 by 11, business cards, posters, anything like that, if you want to extend your design outwards and it's not printed internally, always put a bleed of 0.125. When it comes to internal prints, printers automatically put a margin if they're not set up to not put it. So I don't put bleeds on those documents, and I usually put a margin of 0.325. That's what I do. If you ask me why, somewhere along my journey I found out that putting the standards of printers is 0.225. I might be wrong about that, but that's what I've been doing. So there you have it. But to come back to our bleed, you can't go wrong by putting 0.125 or 1/8 of an inch in your designs if you're sending it out to a printer and there's designs that are going out of your artboard. So I'm just going to press create. Oh, I can preview actually. I'm going to preview to show you. So as you can see now, my artboard has a red outline. That is your bleed. We'll come back to that. So now you have a bleed. Now, let's say you have Pantone colors. Ooh, okay, well, I really don't want my printer to mess up, but I just want my information to be on my file because I want it to be organized and I want to share that information properly. So the slug is where you're going to put all the extra details about your project to communicate it with your printer. So let's say I put a 2-inch slug at the bottom only, because you don't have to put a slug all around it. All right, you can just put it on one place. So for this, since it's one paper, I'm going to put it at the bottom. I'm going to press create. Already there. So now you see that at the bottom, on top of having my bleed, I have my slug. Isn't that awesome? So going back to the bleed, what do I mean when it extends? It's really, hey, I want this part of my design, I want the blue to go all the way to the edge of my paper. So I'm going to put it in a bleed because this here is going to be white. This one's going to be blue. But if you put it here or just on the edge, what happens is there's a big chance that when they cut it, the print, you're going to have a white edge all here where the cut's going to be. So when you have a bleed, well, you're diminishing that chance. Really depends on papers, how your printer is as well, but long story short, this is going to help you with that. Now let's say you want to add information for your printer. I don't know, the date, the file name, and CMYK, or what I'm going to do PMS for Pantone colors. This is where you can put all that information. I'm not going to fill it in. I'm just going to do random numbers. PDF and Pantone color. So when you add this here, it's going to be part of your document, but it's not going to be in your print area. It's going to be an extra in the PDF that you're going to export, and the printer will have access to the information, so he can remove it, do what he wants, whatever. It's just there. So now we've got our design, we put in our slug, we need to export. So you're going to go File, Export, or Control E, or Command E. Then you're going to save it. So here's where it starts getting interesting. When you do Adobe PDF preset, you're going to have a press quality. To be fair, I have never used anything other than press quality, unless my printer wants something else, and we are working on an oversized print. Oversized print is treated differently, but normal prints, I really just go with press quality, and then I set it up differently. So I want my bleed and I want my slug. So I'm going to go in marks and bleeds. I'm going to add crop marks. And here in bleed and slug, I'm going to use document bleeds, which is automatically going to set it up to what I did at the beginning. And I'm going to include the slug area. Then I'm going to press export. I'm just going to open this up for you. Give me a second. So when you export, it's going to show in your background tasks. So it's done. I'm going to go open it. There you have it. So this is now your PDF file that you're going to send to your printer. So these little markings here, this is to show that this is where you want your design to be cut at. So it's an 8.5 by 11. The blue mark, my Adobe PDF is set up this way. It's the new one, so I don't know if yours is, but anything outside of that is going to be cut off. And when you scroll down, you're going to see your slug. You see how the crop marks stop here? Your printer is going to know that this is where he needs to cut. Everything over that is not important, but at least your information will be there. Slugs are not always used, so you don't have to. I use it when I'm printing things that need to have a fold in the middle. So I'm not going to go in the middle, but let's go to File, Document Setup, because this is where you can change your documents without creating a new document. Document Setup. And let's say I don't want a slug at the bottom, but on the left and right, I want a 1-inch slug. I'm going to press OK. Oops, sorry. Document Setup. Oh, I did top. Sorry. So left and right, I want 1 inch. See how I have a slug now on the two sides? What this does is if you're making a card, let's say that you need to fold in half, you can easily come put in your design these little dashed lines that show exactly to your printer where you want that fold to be. So I'm going to export again. Oh, it's already open. Excuse me. I'm going to export. Yes. I'm going to keep it as is. I'm going to open, is it this one? Yeah, I'm going to open. So now you have your crop marks, and in your slug, you have these two lines that show precisely where you want your fold to be. Now, again, these are mostly like things that, hey, these are the details I'm sending you. This is how I want it to be. But printers are all different. Some might say, don't worry about it, just leave it as is. So always communicate with your printer to know how they like their files and how they are set up. And you're always going to like vary a little bit, but knowing that a slug and a bleed exist will help you prepare better documents for your printer and help you in the long run create a better connection with them, because printers do appreciate files that are well made. This is how you create a connection with them. So the better your files come in and the less work they need to do to set it up, the happier they're going to be with you. And hey, who knows, maybe sometimes you'll get a discount. So please learn your bleeds, learn your slugs, but always ask your printer, hey, do you need me to add more details in the slug? As for the bleed, it's necessary when you want to extend a visual outside of the normal art box without having that weird white line. So I hope this was helpful. It's not like this big science project thing. It's really simple. And if this was helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more design tutorials, and make sure to ring the notification bell to join, to know when I post. I really enjoy doing these videos. It's my first video, so it might be a little bit awkward, but just know that this is basic information that I'm giving to you to make your job a little bit easier. So until next time, keep designing, keep slaying, and keep being fabulously you. Toodles!